Okay, hi all. As promised, I'm going to try and give you some notes on Chapter 3 for next week. And next week on the syllabus it says we're only talking about sections 1, 2, and 3 in Chapter 3 because you have an exam too. So I think the plan should be to sort of follow the textbook so you can couple these short mini lecture lessons with the textbook and hopefully have a deeper understanding of what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, so starting in section 3.1. First of all, you want to remember that the square root of a negative number is not a real number. And we talked about this a little bit in Chapter 2 when we were talking about domains of functions and domains of compositions of functions and things like that. So for example, if you were trying to take the square root of -1, it's not a real number. Now, another thing to note before we sort of delve into Chapter 3 is that when we're talking about quadratic functions, or any function for that matter, what we're doing is looking for the places where the graph crosses the x-axis. So using a quadratic function as an example, or a parabolic function, however you want to say it, using a quadratic function as an example, we know a quadratic function makes a parabolic curve. Now, when we talk about solutions for a quadratic, our solutions we can either have two solutions, one solution, or no solutions. Because when you think about quadratic equations or parabolas graphically, you can either have a parabola that crosses the x-axis twice. For example, this would be a solution, this would be a solution. There are two solutions. You could have a parabola that touches the x-axis at only one point. Here's an example. This would be a solution, or the only solution. Or you can have a parabola that has no solutions, maybe something like this. And as you see, the parabola never crosses the x-axis, so there is no solution. Now, in the past when we've said stuff like this does not have a solution, what we're referring to is it doesn't have a real solution. So to sort of amend this no solution business, let's say that it has no real solution. You have to forgive me, I only have a small board, so it's going to be right, erase, right, erase. So, okay, in the past, when we've said no solution, what we're typically talking about is no real solution. Now, we do have a way to address the fact that we can't find real solutions for equations like this. This chapter is all about quadratic equations, so I'm probably going to refer to that throughout most of the chapter. But it does apply to all other types of equations. All right, so we have the number I. And the number I is used to define imaginary numbers or what we call complex numbers. And imaginary numbers help us find all solutions, real or not real, for quadratics or other equations of like kind, when there doesn't appear to be a real solution. So, the number I is defined, and it is a number, believe it or not. The number I is defined as the square root of -1. Another way to think about this is that I squared is equal to -1. These two equations are pretty important, so that would certainly be something that I would put on my note sheet for the exam, and taking it a step further, I would certainly commit it to memory. Those are pretty important. Now, it's important to note that when we're looking at roots